All right.
What's going on, people? Welcome to WBC TV. This is Ranger with me once again, Dontae, Boxing's Nation. What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
Oh,
Another
man, you
historic night
already
of
know.
boxing tonight.
You already know.
Hey, you know what, man? Let me start off by saying this, Ranger. The first thing I want to say is I told everybody in my video, besides the obvious, I told everybody that this is one of the most important fights of the entire year, and basically it changed everything. All that talking of Rigo only having 11 fights, all that talking of, Rigo, he ain't ready, and the amateurs, it don't mean nothing, et cetera, et cetera. Man, it was something else, man. It was something else.
Let me tell you.
And another thing too, Ranger, is the fact that when I was watching the fight, I was tripping off of what's his name, Donaire. He was much bigger. You could just see it naturally.
Man,
he was much bigger than Rigo, and Rigo still won damn near every single round.
I honestly only gave Donaire the knockdown round. That's about it. That's the only round I was able to actually give him. Because although at some points he was pressing the fight, he was missing and getting shot and getting tagged. So I can't really, if you don't land and you get tagged, I can't really give you that round, even if you're pressing the fight. I'm sorry, not me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I agree. That's the only round I gave him. And even the knockdown, it was a real sneaky clinch. Clinch and take advantage of a clinch type of knockdown. Because Rigo is real respectful. He in a clinch, Rigo, he ain't gonna try to throw no punch. He ain't gonna try to do that. I mean, we seen it throughout the fight. We seen it in the Marroquin fight. If Marroquin fell on the ropes or whatever, and his back was kind of turned, Rigo will stay there composed. He would just wait for him to turn around. He ain't gonna try to take no cheap shots. So Donaire.
But the left hook, man, the left hook is so dangerous. Rigo got caught a lot of times with that good punch. And that showed you. And let me take a second to give you a lot of credit, because let me tell my audience one thing. This man right here said one thing in our phone conversation with me. He said, we've already seen how Rigondeaux reacts when he gets hurt. Because Rigo was never down against Marroquin. We've already seen how he reacts. He doesn't lose his composure. He remains calm. And he regains control of the fight within seconds. And tonight, everything turned out to be exactly what you said to me that night on the phone. So I got to give you a lot of credit for that. Now,
I appreciate it, man. I mean, you as well. Me and you were pretty much in sync as well when it came to how this would possibly play out.
Let me just say one thing to all of our haters, which I think you got about 90% same haters I do, something like that. But anyways. You don't have to apologize to us for all your racial, whatever you did. This fight tonight zipped all of yours mouth. With all the respect, I'm saying this. And if you want to call me cocky, so be it. I just, I want to be cocky tonight. Because tonight, it marked the end of a build-up fighter. Now, why do I call Nonito a build-up fighter? Why have I been calling Nonito a build-up fighter? Not because he's a bad fighter. Obviously, Nonito is a good fighter. But because of the type of opposition he's been fighting and the credit he's been given that doesn't match well with the type of opposition he's been fighting. So that's why I call Nonito a build-up fighter. What do you think about that? I mean, I don't know. I might be wrong.
Hey, well, I mean, on my last video, I said this was a perfect opportunity for Donaire to shut up the people who believed that he was a build-up fighter, that HBO just was building him up, out of a weak substance, trying to make up for Manny Pacquiao, his demise. And so basically, Donaire, he had an opportunity to prove that he wasn't, just a blown up hype fighter. And I said also, Rigo, this was his opportunity to show that he wasn't just a great amateur, and he could make the transition over from the amateurs to the pros. And we seen what happened. We've seen the fact that like this, and you know what, man? Realistically, that was probably the best Donaire that we seen, and he
You are
basically
absolutely
got
right.
shut out. Yeah,
You're absolutely right. Because let me tell you one thing. I was expecting Donaire. Let me rephrase that. I was never expecting Donaire to be as calm as he was and to keep his cool. Because although he lost his cool in a couple of occasions, he remained calm and he remained smart throughout the fight. If you notice, he was using his height to protect his face and dropping his hands, keeping it here to protect that body. Okay?
Yeah.
That was very smart on his side, because let me tell you one thing. If there was a punch to knock Nonito out, it would have been a body shot. And it was very smart on his side to fight tall. He didn't fight low like he usually does. He fought tall. And but then again, me and you used to say, you know, Donaire's not going to come out to rip Rigo's heads off like he does with his other opponents. Rigo is not just any other opponent. You know what I mean? And that was shown tonight. I want to discuss something with you. I can't stand excuses. Let's start with that. Okay? First of all, that shoulder crap, how you going to tell me that 3 fights ago, you was able to knock Nishioka out, Arce out, and tonight, because you lost, that shoulder actually had an effect on you? For real? You know
what, Ranger? I'm glad you brought that up, because if you didn't bring it up, I would have forgot to bring it up. Before to even get into the excuses, we have to get into the fact that Max Kellerman, he set all of that up in the interview, which, I'm really starting to, become disappointed with Max Kellerman, because Max Kellerman was one of the only people on that panel. I mean, of course, with Roy Jones, but when Larry Merchant and all of them was there, he was one of the only ones who you could rely on not being extremely biased, right? But if you notice, soon as he started the interview with Rigo, the first thing he started talking about, the crowd was booing. And then he pauses, just like, who cares? Just like he pauses, just like he did in the Bradley Pacquiao interview. He brings up the booing and all of this, right? And of course, Rigo answers the way he's supposed to answer it. Real boxing fans, they know the deal. They know what I did. It was a shutout. I wasn't even supposed to win the fight, et cetera, et cetera. And then he goes over and talks to Donaire. And then, of course, he doesn't bring up the booing when it comes to Donaire, even though Donaire landed less punches than Rigo did, right? He doesn't bring that up. And then Max Kellerman sets up his next question with giving Donaire excuses. Now, one thing I did like is the fact how responsive the crowd was. Did you notice that, Ranger?
Oh, yeah, man. They started booing him. They started booing Nonito. And after that, notice how quiet it was. Like, like after the booing, it was so silent in there that you can hear Nonito so clear. I love the way the crowd responded to those excuses. But I'm glad you brought HBO's bias way of acting, because at the same time, I'm going to come back and tell you that HBO will stab you in the back, because all the way before the fight, they couldn't get no Donaire out of their mouths. As soon as that first round ended, as soon as that second round ended, we started noticing a change in the subject of how good Donaire is to how good Rigondeaux really is. And then they were like, well, Donaire's realizing he's in there against a world-class fighter and blah, 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 blah. How they went from putting Donaire on a pedestal to lowering him under the carpet in which that pedestal is placed at. That shows you that HBO commentators, except for Roy Jones Jr., know nothing about boxing. All they do is set up an emotional panel behind a fighter, get him build up, and let the crowd to believe that this was, in fact, a #1 pound-per-pound fighter. I really don't believe in the pound-per-pound myself, but for those of you that believe in the pound-per-pound, he was never a pound-per-pound. Now you can go ahead and place Rigo in the pound-per-pound if you believe in it,
you could give Donaire possibly number 9, number 10 at the most. He was never an elite top 5, top 3 pound for pound champion. And let me respond to what you just said, Ranger, about the about HBO being wish-washy with who they back up. In this situation, realistically, they had no choice but to tell the truth because Donaire was nowhere in the fight.
He couldn't find Rigo.
He wasn't even coming close to landing punches. Like in the, say for example, Manny against Bradley, there was, whenever Manny threw a left, regardless if it landed or not, they would say, oh, there goes another nice left hand. But Donaire wasn't even in the same vicinity of Rigo, right? I mean, it wasn't even close. He was hitting nothing but air. And Rigo's defense was so beautiful and graceful that he made it very easy for the judges to see that it was punches landed versus nothing but air.
Nothing but air. And here's the deal. For those of you boxing fans, and I'm going to do this 2-3 more times. For those of you who are real boxing fans, if you boo this fight tonight, quit watching boxing and turn yourself into MMA where you can get a bunch of unworthy scrap. Okay? MMA, I love MMA, don't get me wrong. But if you cannot appreciate the sweet science of hitting and not getting hit, then maybe you should stop watching boxing, period. If you want to boo, and let me tell you what they were booing to Rigo. Because they cannot stand seeing their beloved hero missing shots, getting countered so clean and flush to the face. And did you see what happened in that last round? How Nonito couldn't get that glove there because he was so much pain. Let me tell you one thing, man. I don't want to make excuses as to why there was not a knockout. But I firmly believe, okay, that maybe Donaire would have not rehydrated as much as he did because he looked huge. There could have possibly been, there could have possibly been a knockout, man. There could have possibly been a knockout. Now, I want to get your thoughts on what Robert Garcia was saying, that he had the fight 3-3. On the 7th round, he had it 3-3. I mean, really and truly, can you consider, this is another thing I was being hate for, because I never thought Garcia was the type of trainer that HBO was making him to be. How can he have that fight 3-3?
Honestly, Ranger, I honestly believe that he's just going to say whatever he can say to make his fighter look good. I don't believe that Garcia really thought the fight was close. I mean, these are just things that you have some trainers who will tell their fighter, "Oh, you winning the fight. You're winning the whole fight." And they could be losing the whole fight, which I think is a terrible mistake psychologically for your fighter. But I really didn't take it too serious when he said it. I just thought he was just saying something stupid. But I will agree with Jim Lampley when he did say, that's not helping your fighter. If you're telling your fighter that this is a close fight, all you really got to do is cruise. That's not helping the fighter. But at the same time, right after Garcia did that interview with Max Kellerman, he started to look like he was talking to Donaire more in a desperate fashion after Max said that. But the whole thing is, this comes all the way back. This goes all the way back to the fact that this is the reason why Donaire never wanted to fight this dude, man. This is the reason why he never wants. This is the reason why Larry Merchant, the last fight before he retired, I will never forget it. He said nobody wants to see that fight. We want to see Rigo versus Mares. I'm sorry. He said we want to see Donaire versus Mares.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to get your take on what would you like to see from Donaire next, aside from moving up in the division.
That's a good ass question. Well, we know what Donaire doesn't want, first off, and that's a rematch with Rigo, which if I was him, I wouldn't take that anyway. But it's funny you bring that up, though, because I have been saying for a long time, the fight I want to really see, it probably won't happen right now, but I would love to see Donaire versus Marican, man.
Man, you just read my mind, man.
Are you serious?
Just read my mind. Listen, and it's perfect. Donaire's going to
page.
126, and American just won at 126, which is really what his weight division. Let me tell you one thing, and I'm about to get hate for what I'm about to say, but American will destroy. Remember this. American will beat Guillermo Rigo. I mean, what's his name?
Donaire.
Donaire. I'm already forgetting his name. I hope that don't. I'm telling you, American will beat, because the thing is, and I don't want to get into the American subject so much, but the thing is, people fail to realize the type of fighter American is, which is a very tight defensive fighter, has height, throws down the pipe, and hits hard, man. And this kid is not a bum like people think he is. So,
no. Well, I mean, dude, it's so crazy, because when we talk about what people really think, I mean, we're talking about two different things. What they really, really think, and what they end up just saying just to make themselves feel better because they don't want to give Rigo too much credit. If you give Rigo's opponents, if you give Rigo's opponents too much credit, then you give Rigo credit. So what they have to do is they have to say, oh, I know Ramos was undefeated. I know Marroquin was up and coming strong, et cetera, but they were all bums because they don't want to give Rigo credit. But I mean, we all know the truth, though. We all know the truth. If you really follow boxing, you already knew Marroquin was a big time touted amateur, who, like I said, beat Adrian Broner as an amateur. He even had a win over Gary Russell. We knew all of this stuff. So, but back to what you're saying, though, man. I mean, it would be a terrific fight, and I kind of lean towards Marroquin as well, because he knows. I mean, the thing is, people don't realize how good. Well, I think a lot of people realize now how good Rigo is. But even when you watch how Marroquin lost to Rigo, Marroquin, like you said, is a very good fighter. He's defensively intelligent. He didn't leave himself open that much against Rigo. But Rigo is just a sniper, accurate puncher, and Rigo was able to to see through the little tiny holes that Marroquin left
sneak those shots
open.
in there.
Exactly. So I think if Donaire were to fight against someone like Marroquin, honestly, I think for one, Donaire would underestimate Marroquin, thinking that Marroquin is just a typical brawler, and then he will find out that Marroquin is a lot better. So I will lean towards Marroquin in a fight like that. That's why I want to see it, because, like I said, they're both naturally big, they're both aggressive, they're both strong punchers, and look at, realistically, we can say that Marroquin, he kind of wobbled Rigo more than Donaire could.
Oh,
right?
Heck yeah.
I mean,
heck yeah.
You can almost say that fight was more competitive than this one was.
10 times more. I mean, if you look at that fight, although I only gave Marroquin 3 rounds out of that fight, even the rounds that Rigo won, they were not fully, and outclassed by Rigo. They were real competitive rounds. Although it was clear that Rigondeaux won those rounds, it wasn't a walk in the park like it was tonight with Donaire. Now, here's what I would like to see from Donaire. Obviously, I would like to see him get his shoulder surgery so that there is no excuses. I would like to see him, and I got to give him respect for what he said, to take some time off, enjoy his up-and-coming baby, because, heck, I even did it, and it's a good experience. But after that, I wanted to come back, get not 1, but 2 tune-up fights against, the usual midgets that he fights. And then I would love to see the rematch. I would love to see the rematch. Okay?
It ain't gonna never happen. It ain't gonna never happen, Ranger.
I know, but it's still a hope I have, my brother.
Yeah.
But if the rematch does not happen, okay, I would love. And I don't even want to see Mares versus Donaire. I mean, if it happens, good. It could be a good fight, action-packed fight. But Donaire can clearly, I would have to go with Donaire on that fight just because of the type of style Mares has. Is favorable to what Donaire has to offer, right? But who I really would love to see Donaire fight against at 126 would be a Mikey Garcia. I would love to see a fight against Mikey Garcia because, see, here's the deal. Mikey Garcia has been calling out Gamboa, but what people don't realize is Gamboa promotional company. Mikey Garcia is with Golden Boy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Golden Boy and Top Rank won't do business, but Donaire and Donaire is also with Top Rank too, yeah. But that is still a fight.
Well, Donaire and Mikey Garcia, they said that they would never fight each other because they fight under the same trainer, and that's Robert Garcia's little brother. Yeah, that may change, but at the same time, me honestly, bro, I wouldn't be, I wouldn't mind seeing Donaire versus Mares, like you said, if they can get around the promotional stipulations and all. But another good fight as well, which is going to be around the corner, is possibly Donaire versus Gary Russell. That might be a fight that's around the corner. That might be around the corner. Gary Russell, he's already talking about he wants to fight the winner of Mares and Ponce de Leon. So that may be a fight around the corner. But hey, man, but real quick though, but back to this situation though, man, this is a real sad night, man, for the Manny Pacquiao and Donaire fans, because like I said, leave it up to HBO to tell everyone that Donaire is the next Manny Pacquiao, right?
Yeah.
And now, as we've been telling people, me and you and other people, we've been saying for about a year now that he ain't no Manny Pacquiao, or at least he's not going to reach the status of a Manny Pacquiao because there's too much competition in his division. And props to Bob Arum. Bob Arum said he ain't going to beat all those guys. You got that on your video.
On my video, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Bob Arum even said it. He ain't going to beat all of these guys. So, hey, man, shots really go out to Rigo, man, because this man, 11 fights. And they said it couldn't be done with 11 fights. They said it was no reason for Donaire to take this fight. No reason for Donaire to fight a guy with 11 fights.
It would be too easy for him.
Yeah. And then he wins almost every single round. Who would have guessed that he would win? We knew that if it went the decision, he would most likely win. But every single round?
Even the round where he got knocked down, he came back and kept pressing and kept landing, man. If it would have not been for that knockdown, it would have been a complete shutout, man. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Hey, and like how you was talking about how I was talking about in my earlier videos, that we know how Rigo will respond. How will Donaire respond? And you seen when he got cracked with that left hand, he immediately starts skating. He got on that bicycle. Yeah, exactly. He got on that bicycle.
He put gorilla hold crazy glue.
Yeah, gorilla glue. Yeah.
Man.
No, man. And he was looking. To me, it looked like he was looking at different corners. He was almost ready to quit. As soon as he got caught with the shot, he immediately stared skating. And I seen it right away. So he hurt. He's hurt.
If Rigo would have been just a little more aggressive, there would have been, I wouldn't say a knockout, but at least a knockdown, because he was ready to just, I mean, you can tell the pain was so intense that all he did was use his left hand. That right glove was actually open, holding that eye, man. And I know some of the blind fans will be like, oh, no, that was just part of his defensive skills. But no, you got to open your eyes, and after that hand dropped, the reality came out. You know what I mean?
Donaire, he felt something possibly crack up in there. Like I said, that orbital bone is probably broken. He felt it right away, and he was like, wait a minute, my health is too important. He didn't want to fight no more after that. And I'm telling you, man, he got hurt. And he even said it. He said, I didn't feel his power, which I don't really believe that 100%, but he said, I didn't feel that power till he caught me with that punch in the 12th round.
I believe he felt the power at the end of the first round. If you notice how that first round ended, it was, well, not actually midway through the first round, I think it was. where Rigo countered him with that left hand and sent him stumbling back, I believe he felt the power there. But you know, who knows what went through his mind? I know that nothing he had tonight was better than Rigo. Nothing that he's ever had has been better than Rigo. And I can honestly see Rigo never being the superstar, not because of lack of skills, but because of gain of haters, because of fake boxing fan. What do I call a fake boxing fan? The boxing fan that only wants to see knockouts and toe-to-toe brawls. They don't appreciate, like I said at the beginning of the video, that sweet science of hitting and not getting hit. But what I will tell you this, no matter if you're a pay-per-view start or if he's a pay-per-view start or not, the fact will always be that technically there are very few fighters that will ever be at his level. Period. Period. And there are very few fighters that will ever accomplish what he accomplished as an amateur and as a pro, which is winning his first belt with 7 fights and then cleaning out the #1 guy with only 11 pro fights. So I don't care what the haters want to say. If you want something better than that, you're going to have to turn the hands of time back and possibly find one of the older fighters, because you're not going to get it again. I can guarantee you that.
Or just reminisce on the good old days when Donaire was knocking out Arce and whoever else, because that's about it. But
that's it. That's about it.
Rigo's style, every single thing that Rigo does is fascinating. Like I caught myself rewinding. Just even when he moves around the ring, you see how he'll start to act like he's going this way, and then he'll come back over like this. He'll juke him like a basketball move. That's an ankle breaker right there. You know what I'm saying? That's what they call breaking ankles in basketball. I mean, and I was showing my kids when we were watching this. I was rewinding. Those moves that he was doing. I'm like, look at this move right here. These are things that you guys need to try to incorporate when you guys are sparring. I mean, everything Rigo does is good. And let me respond to what you said about if he will be a star one day. You got to remember, the most hated fighter in the world is the biggest star today, right? Yep. And the reason why he is because he keeps beating the guys that they hope would beat him, right? So not only that, but styles make fights. See, Donaire fought a very intelligent, defensive, responsible style today, right? But a lot of opponents, they're gonna go in there with that dumb style, and that's gonna bring out the best of Rigo. And I predict we're gonna see some fascinating knockouts by Rigo, just like we've been seeing before. Especially when he starts to fight guys that's more closer to his natural weight. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, if you think of a style like Abner Mares, he would have knocked Mares out.
Listen.
So
go ahead.
I think I'm just saying. So I think that he's gonna be a big star. I mean, I ain't saying he's gonna be the next Mayweather or Golden De La Hoya or nothing, but his name is out there. I mean, he just beat. Donaire
his name is definitely out there. What I am saying though is, people don't appreciate that type of quality he has to offer, which is fine with me because all he's doing is whipping those guys' rear ends. I don't really care what people appreciate or not. However, I can't see guys like, I don't see nobody else really beating him on that division. Russell Jr. will be a good competition, but that's still a fight that we will have to see what happens. A fight that I would love to see is what's his name? I would like to see Vasquez Jr. because he's still a good competitive against Guillermo Rigondeaux. I would like to see just whoever at that division, whether Rigo wins or lose. Now, I've always said, now that you're on top, I want to see you challenged. I don't want to see you being protected. Yeah. And although Rigo has never been protected, now I want to see him be challenged even more because he reached the top. Now it's time to show that not only can you reach it, but you can stay at the top. That's kind of like what I want to see from Rigo. Yeah,
and I think we're going to see it. I mean, it's unfortunate. You could tell that Rigo is too small to go up to 126. You know, but I think from the range of 118 and 122, you know, there's going to be new stars coming up, and he's going to have some more people to fight in that division. But for now, man, he's sitting on top
Jesse
of the
Magdaleno.
throne, you know. So yeah, man, I look forward to seeing the future, man.
Now to close down, because we're up in 31 minutes and I don't want to do a documentary, I'm going to ask you a question that you have probably never been asked before. So if you want to take a few seconds to think of the answer, you can go ahead and think of it. If you had in front of you, let's say you were sitting in the middle of that ring tonight, and in front of you, you had that whole crowd full of all the haters and all the racist fans in front of you, and they hand you Michael Buffer's microphone, what will you tell them?
What the hell you got to say now?
I mean,
that would really be it. What you got to say now?
Yeah.
What's your excuse now? It would just be questions, man. It would just be questions, man. I mean, like this is the best thing about YouTube is everything that is said, everything that is typed is documented, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, it's documented. All that silly shit that you say, you look dumb as hell because it's sitting all on our videos, right? So that's what I love about YouTube. This is all documented. This is not no BS where me and you just walking around telling people, oh, well, I was telling people, you know, for the longest. No, you could go back to the video and watch it. You know, what you got to say now? What's your excuse now?
Man,
right? That's all I would. What about you?
Actually, to just correct what the last part you said, they are going to have excuses. Remember the shoulder, baby, I didn't fought as smart as I should have. There is going to be plenty of excuses. Now, in my situation, I don't think I will be having as much manners that you just had. I would think, okay, like here's the deal. You already know I hate racism, right? And what I would like to say is, in response to one of my subscribers, which you already know you will know that I'm talking to you. I will not say your name because, number one, you don't have the guts to stand in front of a camera and do videos. All you do is hide behind your keyboard and pretend to be a smart boxing fan. But the cockroach-looking fighter defeated convincingly your fighter. That's one of the things I would say if he was standing in front of me. Meaning that I was right and you was wrong. Meaning that I was right about the amateur having an effect in the pro games. Meaning that I was right that although Rigondeaux only had 11 fights, he was still much more superior than anything Nonito had ever faced and than anything that Nonito had to offer. That's one thing. To all of those of you that said to me to go cut their grass after I was done, swim back to my country, I would like to tell you that Rigondeaux grant me tonight an extra 3-year visa to stay in this country, and I will have to keep hating on you, and you will have to keep dealing with me. What I would have to say is to all of those of you who called Rigondeaux an ape, a monkey, isn't that a shame that a top pound-per-pound fighter gets beaten by an ape and a monkey? What does that make your top pound-per-pound number one guy in the division? Like Max Kellerman says, pound-per-pound, he is better than Floyd Mayweather. He is better than all of those guys. What I would have to say is take your racism, pack it up really tight in a long shape, and shove it up your rear end. That's what I would have to say, honestly speaking, because, see, I'm not the type of guy that's racist, and I don't really get really mad at racism. It just gets me mad, the ignorance. And tonight, all the ignorance have to shove their tongues up the rear ends, man, and keep hating. He'll keep winning. That's what I would like to say, you know, and that's that.
Yeah, I mean it don't bother me at all. Well, I won't say it don't bother me. Of course, it irritates me. But what I mean is, first off, when you hear the comments, the monkeys and all that kind of stuff like that, look, I'm gonna say something right now, and I mean no offense to anyone, but first off, monkeys. It's funny when people use the term monkey to offend someone, because monkeys, and realistically, there's like over 100 different types of monkeys. They come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. You have monkeys with yellow faces, slanted eyes. You know, you have monkeys with red faces, with black faces. You know, monkeys come in all shapes. I mean, realistically, I mean, let's be real. Forrest Griffin from the UFC, he looks like a monkey. You know, I mean, he's even made jokes about him, you know, looking like a monkey, right? I mean, the guy who just fought Zoe Shamin, you know, the guy looks like a monkey, right? So I mean, I don't like to go too deep into it, but the point I'm making is, you know, it's just ignorance that racist people will use, and you know, people will always try to make it seem like one person in particular that they don't like, they want to target as that person having this only type of problem, only looking this way, only having this amount of money, only driving this type of car, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, but we all in the same boat. You know, we all in the same boat. You know, monkeys come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. You know,
exactly.
And you know,
well,
as far as I'm concerned, the best monkey won tonight. You know,
exactly. So there was two monkeys in the ring.
That's how
well
they
said.
Do it. There was two monkeys in the ring, and one of them won tonight, and it wasn't Donaire.
Exactly. Well, listen, man. You know, I always enjoy having this type of videos with you where I can let go for 35 minutes now, 37 minutes now. You know, I'm sure we'll do this again. I want to send a shout out to you again. People go subscribe to his channel, subscribe to my channel. I want to send a shout out to Female Boxing Fan. I want to send a shout out to a lot of the people that follow me faithfully, like Daitnier Garcia, Industriales 31, Sean Newton, Hater Hawker Mustang. I mean, y'all know who you are. I appreciate you guys watching my videos. Unfortunately for you, no, my channel will not be closing tonight. It might close tomorrow, but not tonight. And go to this man's channel, Dontae's Boxing Nation, and subscribe. You will enjoy his videos, and you will enjoy mine. And I'm sure if you're the hater that follows me, you will hate on him just as much you hate on me. But at the end of the day, you will still keep us relevant. I'm out, man. I appreciate it. We'll stay in touch.
Absolutely.